is in... Okay, recorded na ang atong video call session this morning. So, our discussion will be about earthquake and fault. So, focus ta karon sa earth science. Okay? On our environment. What usually happens in our environment? So, sa Bisaya pa, ang earthquake is known as linog. So, kinsa diri sa inyo ang wala pa ka-experience og linog?
Experience na tanan, ma'am.
Experience na tanan.
Experience
So,
naman ni ma'am.
today, you will understand nganong na ay linog. Nganong galinog man. O kung paano gali, na times na hinay, na po'y times na kusog kaayo, dili na to makuan niya. Like, times po nga dugay, na apoy times nga kalitra po or dalira. Okay? So again, I hope you have with you your modules.
Sakit yung vaccine med, sakit.
And also your answer sheets. So first off, you have to answer 10 items, multiple choice pre-test. Again, in answering the multiple choice pre-test, please use capital letters, okay? To check whether unsa inyong nabalandaan sa topic before mo mag-start og lan sa atong module. So, okay. We're now on earthquake and faults. So, what you need to know is that after doing all the activities, you will be able to, number one, describe what a fault is using some models and illustrations. And second is you need to explain how movements along faults generate earthquakes. So in other words, earthquake and faults work hand in hand. Kung walay fault, walay earthquake. Okay? Sige, giingon si ma'am, unsay fault, unsay earthquake, unsa din na siya, ma'am. Okay? Sige. Okay, look at the illustration on your screen and observe. You have 4 figures, figure A, figure B, C, and D. So, after that, you have to choose. Asa kahaani sa ilang upat movement best illustrates a fault.
Dili na mo maklaro, ma'am. Kaya nasa ibabaw ang ni Stephanie. Nasa ubos na ng imua.
Kay Stephanie ang na-focus?
Oo,
Ako,
naka
man, God.
Stephanie. Nara din ko.
Okay,
Klaro,
tanawa
ma'am.
na lang inyong module. Tanawa inyong modules.
Okay, ma'am.
Basig lahin inyong gipin. Lain inyong gipin. Ang inyong ipin ako ang presentation. Dili ang nahong sa inyong classmate. Ako ang ipin presentation para ang ako ang screen ang makita. Ako trohon ha. Sige, what have you, among these 4 figures, okay, land here is represented by a box. A is the starting point. Then, the 2 parallel lines here represent the event that may happen while B, C, and D show a crack forms in the box. So, naay kuan. Clashing of 2 boxes below. Muna siya ang formation sa A. Pag B, murag nag-slide siya gamay, dili na straight ang line. As you can see, there's already a broken line. And then same with letter C. Both boxes are actually moving in different directions. The upper box moves to the right, while the lower box moves to the left. Okay, na movement. nga gakahitabo. Okay, here. Kakakita ninyo ang figure?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Every time nga maglinog, di ba namoy makita nga liki?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, murag dili pareha ang direction. That's an example of a fault. Kana siya actually is ang road, dalan. Pag human sa linog, tanawa, unsay nahitabo sa dalan na bungkag siya, di ba? That is used to be a long straight road. But after the earthquake, nabungkag siya. Then these two roads are already in different directions. Okay? Na siya, natipak. Oh? Lahi na ang iyang forma. And this usually is a long straight road. Kanang dalan patagpang yung na. Char lang. Mura siya ang na. Pero after sa linog, nabungkag siya. Okay? That is already an example of a fault. Okay, next. Okay. This is an example of a picture actually of San Andreas Fault in California. So when we say a fault, it is a break in the Earth's crust, and along the break, significant movement has taken place. So kung dili pagid kay ninyo masabtan unsa ang break or ang fault, kita mo nang dalan nga diya dapit sa lumbia nga sigig katipak. Kita mo wala.
Kita,
Di ba
ma'am.
dagan katipak nga dalan diya sa lumbia?
Ma'am.
Ingon na ang itsura sa fault. But I'm not saying nga kanang dalan mo gina siya ang fault. Kaya ang kanang nagtipak nga dalan sa lumbia, that is due to the movement of different big cars nga gaagi, di ba? Mobaya ng reason nga nung matipak ang dalan kay tungod sa mga dagko nga sakyanan, mga truck, mga kwan sa basura, and all other modes of transportation that are passing by that road. Mo nang natipak ang dalan. A fault is similar to that. What causes a fault is the movement of the Earth's crust. So, mutuo ba mo nga naay movement ang atong Earth?
Yes, ma'am.
Aside from the rotation from its axis, there is also a certain movement in our Earth's crust. That is why naay mga fault, naay linog nga kakahitabo, naay movement of the Earth's crust. And along the break, there is a significant movement that has taken place. So the word break here refers to a crack in the ground, while crust refers to the outermost layer of the earth. So reviewing your past lessons in science in the different layers of the earth, what is found in the outermost part is called the crust, followed by, crust, mantle, inner core, outer core. Bali di ay. Crust, mantle, outer core, inner core. Mao na siya. So ang nasa outermost part is the crust, and that is always affected when there is a movement. Okay? Gamay, nipis ra na siya in kilometers. Kani atong gitumban karon is already an example or part of the Earth's crust. Okay? We live on the surface of the crust. So kanina itong gitumban karon, mao na siya ang part sa crust. So significant movement means that the rocks have been displaced or shifted considerably. Okay, nara. A box of sand is pulled outward shown in A. So nagbutang ka og muning box na ay bala sa sulod ana. Imong sansan, imong gisansan sa box ang bala. So eventually ingon ani ang itsura smooth. Okay? So the covers are pulled outward. and cracks are formed. Kumatang, di ba? Kabantay ka, kung imong tandugon ang balas nga na imong gisansan or kuan na agad siya liki. So, yung nanin yung nahitabo sa letter B. When the box of sand is pulled outward, there are cracks, liki. And for letter C, sa sige gyapon nimo og lihok-lihok sa box, daghan liki na ang iyang na generate, iyang nakita. That is also the same with the movement of the crust. Okay? Sa sige og lihok, there is actually a fault resulting from this movement. And that is why nganong naay linog. Okay? Okay, next. Do you know that earthquakes also happen in the ocean? Sa dagat?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Diba? There are, basta gali maglinog, duha ka instances or duha ka reason ang ginatanaw. Is it a tectonic earthquake or is it a volcanic earthquake or naabay tsunami nga gakahitabo? Okay? So kung tectonic plates or tectonic earthquake, meaning to say that focuses on the movement of the tectonic plates in the Earth's crust. Okay? Kung mayon pud ka o volcanic ang occurrence or ang reason nganong na ay linog, meaning to say na ay active nga volcano that is about to erupt or mubuto. Kung mayon pud ka og na ay tsunami, kung naay movement gyapon siya sa tectonic plates, only that it happens in the ocean, oceanic plates, nasa sa ilalom sa dagat or sa ocean. That is why kung dito ni occur sa dagat ang earthquake, meaning to say there is a high chance that tsunami will take place. Good for you students living in Tagpangi kay walay dagat dool sa inyo. So you are kumbaga layo ra kay sa inyo ang mahitabo. But ang possible nga pwede kanang mahitabo diha sa inyong lugar is the tectonic plates because you are prone to near hills and mountains. So delikado ang landslide. Okay, so much for that. Let's continue. Okay, there are questions here that I want you to answer one by one. Okay? Ako na lang answer sa number 1. Is there an active fault identified in your town, province, or region? So, as checked by PVOLCS, the Philippine Volcanology and Seismology, ang active fault nato diri sa Cagayan is dapit sa Taguluan. Taguluan fault. Mura na siya ang so far. But siguro after pila ka years, kung naagyapoy mga sudden movement, naagyapoy mga occurrence of new plates or faults, new fault. So ang active fault is nasa Taguluan dapit. So now, as students, how will you prepare yourselves to an event like earthquake? Sige, maminaw tabi. Manawag ko. I'll call students na makatubag. How will you prepare yourselves to an event like an earthquake? Sige, I'll call Christine. Christine?
Yes, ma'am. Loading kay
Okay.
ma'am kay. Kadot lang, ma'am.
How will you prepare yourself when there are earthquakes? Pwede ra Bisaya. Akong gitanaw ang GC na wala kasabot daw. Sige, tawagon na ako. Be, Sherwin, batutay?
Si Sophia daw, ma'am. Sophia.
Hmm?
Sophia daw.
Sige, Bel.
Ano, ma'am?
You go.
Ano, ma'am?
Sige, sige.
Duck cover and hold. Go to the place with no structure and do not close to a wall.
Okay, thank you. So, maudin na siya ang purpose. Nganong naatay mga earthquake drill. Have you ever participated in an earthquake drill?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am.
Naka-participate na tanan sa earthquake drill?
Yes, ma'am.
So, duck, cover, and hold, di ba? Daw dili tayo ni mo ma-experience or dili kay nato ka-appreciate what happens during earthquake drills. We can actually apply that when an actual earthquake really happens. Do you know that earthquakes do not give signals? Dili na sila gahatag og signal mga langga. Dili na pareha sa bagyong makita pa nimong nagdag-om, makita pa nimong kusog kayo ang ulan, kusog ang hangin. Ang earthquake manggod kay kalitra na siya mahitabo because an occurrence or a phenomena like earthquake is already a warning signal. Kumbaga, after the occurrence of an earthquake, you will know on what will come next. Either naabay tsunami mahitabo, naabay volcanic eruption mahitabo, or naay existence of a new fault due to the sudden movement of the tectonic plates. Okay? Sige. Isa na siya sa mga angin na itong ginabuhat in order to prepare ourselves and also our family, basta na ay lino. Nasabtan.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope that if naagali i-organize nga earthquake drill sa atong barangay or sa atong school, I hope we could participate, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
As experience man God, 3 years ka pin ako sa tagpangi, murag kadagan ako ka-experience og linog nga naa ako diha sa school. The first one I think kusog kayo. Na mura ko kalipungon. Okay? Sig ang earthquake bangod kay mas kusog siya bation kung naa ka sa taas nga lugar. Kung naa ka sa second floor of a building, second, third, fourth, pataas. Kung katong nasa ground, dili kaayo. Naya po sila ay ma-feel, pero dili kayo nga nakakasog. Okay? Let's continue. Now we'll focus on the focus, intensity, magnitude, and active and inactive faults when dealing about earthquakes. The activity there. I hope you could read it. Sige, manawag ko.
Tama lagi to kung answer ganina boy. Violet siya ati sa
Nakilalis pa. Tama ito yung answer na Violet. Okay, let's call Kathleen Apostol. Please read the first paragraph nila sa what is it?
Earthquake are vibrations or tremors produced within the Earth's outer layer or crust.
Tiwasa. One paragraph.
An earthquake is tectonic. It occurs when parts of the Earth's crust break and also the rocks together with a fault slide near each other or far away from each other. This is often called faulting. An earthquake could also be volcanic. Tremors are often produced to signal an upcoming discharge at this vicinity or region.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen. So, ang earthquake di ay or linog is actually vibration. Kaya bitong para sa cellphone nga nag-vibrate, ingon na ang linog. But earthquakes are produced within Earth's outer layer or crust. It can be tectonic. Okay, muna kong gigong ganina. When parts of the Earth's crust break and also the rocks together with a fault, slide near each other or far away from each other. Aside sa tectonic, earthquake could also be volcanic. Then tremors are often used to signal an upcoming discharge. So mo to kung yung ganina, maglinog una, aya dayon na ay tremor mahitabo kung volcanic ang isa ka earthquake. Okay, next. I'll call Christine Meral. Please read the next paragraph.
The pressure makes the rock move. The place where the earthquake originates is called focus. In the Earth's surface, directly above the focus, you can find the epicenter. The seismic waves travel outward from the focus in all directions when energy is released. Scientists or experts during this field are called seismologists. There are two major scales during which earthquakes are measured. The magnitude of a particular earthquake is also one number that does not vary from place to position. Magnitude is that the entire energy released by an earthquake as it focus.
Okay. Pressure makes the rock move. So kung asa daw ko nagsugod or nag-originate ang isa ka earthquake, diha ang atong gitawag nga focus. Okay, everybody say focus.
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 Focus. Focus again is the center. No. The place where an earthquake originates or where the earthquake is coming from. The Earth's surface directly above the focus is you can find the epicenter. Kabantay mo anang sa mga balita nga, naglinog, naka-experience og linog ganina alas 5 sa kadlawon, ang epicenter kay naaaning nga lugar. Kadungog mo wala. O kapananaw ba magbalita o wala?
Dungog, ma'am.
Okay.
Wala
Muna na
na,
siya.
ma'am.
Ang focus nasa sa ilalom sa yuta. Ang epicenter is found in the Earth's surface directly above the focus. Maunang muingon ta nga ang epicenter kay naani nga specific nga lugar. For example, a 5.6 magnitude earthquake occurred last December 3, 2021 at 5 o'clock a.m. Example ra na siya ha. The epicenter is at Davao City or 25 kilometers east of Davao City. Ingon na ang epicenter. Pero ang focus ana nasa lalom. Okay? The seismic waves travel outward from the focus in all direction where energy is released. That is why katong mga lugar nga doon sa epicenter kusog ang ilang bation nga linog. Nasabtan?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Bisag ang epicenter, for example, naa sa Davao City, matingalan na lang ka kay bisag naa ka sa Cagayan de Oro, mabatian gihapon. Di ba? Mabatian gyapon nimo ang linog. Bisag naa ka sa Cagayan de Oro, though ang epicenter sa linog kay naa sa Davao City. Okay, pero ang intensity sa imong gakabatian nga naa ka sa Cagayan de Oro is lesser compared to those people who are near in Davao City. Okay? Muna akong pasabot. Next. Scientists or experts during this field are called seismologists. Okay, everybody say seismologists.
Seismologist.
Okay. Sila ang mga expert. Sila ang mga in charge. Na sila nag-work sa Department of Science and Technology, specifically in PHIVOLCS. Muna ilang trabaho. They are studying the movement of the tectonic plates. Pag nagalilinog, matik ginailang trabaho. Release din na sila og balita. Okay, intensity 2, ano nga lugar. Ang magnitude sa linog, kay ano nga kuan, ano nga oras na hitabo. Okay? So there are two major scales during which earthquakes are measured. Okay? Nagitawag nato nga magnitude o intensity. So we will also try to differentiate what magnitude and intensity is. Kaya ang uban tao manggod, they are often maglibog sila sa definition sa magnitude o sa intensity. Labay, na intensity 4 ang linog, ana. Na magnitude 6, ana, okay? So, the magnitude of a particular earthquake is also one number that does not vary from place to position. When we say magnitude, it is the entire energy released by an earthquake at its focus. So, earthquakes of giant magnitude are stronger and typically more destructive than those of smaller magnitude. That is why kung naibalita, mayon sila nga 6.8, 9.2 magnitude na linog. So people will be alarmed because that means it's more destructive. Okay? The Richter scale measures earthquake magnitude. Okay? Na siya sa DOST sa PHIVOLCS. So, aside from magnitude, naputi gitawag nato nga intensity. So, the intensity of an earthquake is measured in terms of its geological effects and so the general damage it brings. So, magbase ang intensity sa gakahitabo sa palibot, especially sa mga lugar nga dool kung asa ang epicenter. Okay? This measures the intensity of shaking. So the intensity and the magnitude measurement are always corresponding to each other. So an earthquake is described using intensity and magnitude. When we say magnitude, it refers to the energy released by the focus or sa epicenter. Moingon ta og intensity ang gakabatian sa mga tao nga doon. So question, if ang linog kay naa sa Cagayan de Oro City, for example, the epicenter of the earthquake is at Cagayan de Oro City. Asa man ang mas higher intensity? Katong naa sa dool sa Cagayan de Oro or katong naa sa layo? Okay, who can answer?
Ano sa tong question, ma'am?
Again, ang magnitude, ang epicenter sa linog kay naa sa Cagayan de Oro City. Question, asa sa mga tao ang maka-experience of higher intensity?
Nasa Cagayan de
Nasa
Oro.
loyo, nasa dool, or nasa layo?
Nasa dool, ma'am.
Sa dool, ma'am.
Nasa dool. Okay?
Dool.
So kung maingon gani asa ang epicenter, una so dool ra ba na sa amo? Layo ba na sa amo? So kung nakalayo sa epicenter, meaning to say more or less hinay or wala kay kakabatian. Pero kung nakadool sa epicenter, meaning more likely you are to experience the effects of the earthquake or the intensity of the earthquake. So meaning to say, intensity varies from one place to another. Pwede nga kung, for example, ang epicenter kay nasa Cotabato, higher intensity will be felt those people living in Mindanao. Kay Cotabato is Mindanao man na. So, higher intensity nga ma-feel ang mga tao sa Linog. Pero those who are staying in Manila, halos wala ra kay sila makabatian kay nam sa layo. Nasabtan.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Mao nang sa balita na intensity scales. So, intensity 1, ani nga mga lugar. Intensity 2, ani nga mga lugar. That explains why there are different intensity scales from one place to another whenever there is an earthquake. Nasabtan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, nadiri on your screen you can see the different intensity scales. Oh, na scarcely perceptible, slightly felt, weak, moderately strong, na strong, very strong, destructive, very destructive, devastating, and completely devastating. We pray na kani siya nga mga higher intensity earthquakes e dili mahitabo. Kamo nalay basa ani to know the differences in each intensity scale. However, consequences accompanying any fault. Assume a residence was constructed on a fault. Meaning na balay nagitukod dool sa isa ka fault kana nailiki ba dagkong liki. So as the spot displaces slowly, portions of the residence will be stirred. That is why it is important nga kung magtugod ta og balay or mag-decide ta nga magtugod og balay, dapat ato sa yung planohon og insakto. Number 1 to be considered is, dool ba siya sa isa ka fault? Okay? Kung dool siya sa isa ka fault, there is most likely nga if ever, whenever nga naiilog, maapektuhan linog, maapektuhan yun ang ang mga nagpuyo near sa fault. Okay? Kaya delikado man na. There is a possibility nga maguba yung balay. Worst case scenario, ang inyong balay matambunan sa yuta, malubong siya. The ground will fracture, magliki. Openings will not shut and the roof may begin to drip, mulubong siya. It is essential to perceive the spot of active faults as what you had observed in lesson 1. Okay. Considerably, no significant constructions should be constructed near or on them. Mao na nga ang uban magkuha og building permit. Pag ma-identify gali nga ang lugar kung asa nila gusto magpatukod og balay kay dool sa isa ka fault, dili gid na sila i-allow nga magtukod og balay. Because again, we are just avoiding worst case scenario. Okay? PVOLT here has a diagram that displays the active faults in the Philippines. An active fault is the one that has moved in the past and is suspected to move again. So we have here experts adopt various techniques to uncover out if a fault is active. One is by reviewing the country's past recordings. Archaeologists periodically record about disruptive incidents such as earthquakes. Another is by analyzing the oscillations, former and today, that come from faults. Nevertheless, different method is by inspecting the surroundings. For example, a fault may meet a path and because of that, the road is displaced. Kanang mga usually nagakaguba nga dalan. Kanang pirmi na lang yun, dili ito na isa kinang galabay, kanang pirmi igalikid diha. Ilan ang ginastadihan. Either a fault may cast over a river or the river current is then changed, or a fault may slice through mountains and form cliffs. However, this is not to say that an active fault can be spotted by anyone. Again, only experts can identify that amo ni siya, fault ni siya. Delikado ni siya nga area. Dili lang kay basta-basta lang ta mo ingon nga makakita tagliki nga yuta. Ay, fault na siya. No. Only experts can tell us that a certain fault is dangerous or not. Okay, next. Okay, you can see here the map. Maklaro ninyo? I think maklaro ni sa inyong modules. Muni siya ang map of the distribution of active faults and trenches in the Philippines. Oh, nara. Piatong, hindi na siya maklaro. So, na-fault dire sa Tagolwan River Basin. So, muna siya ang pinakadool na fault sa tuwa. Okay, this is actually from PHIVOL's figure of active faults and trenches. Question. Okay, kani. What I can do, nani sa inyong answer sheet. What you're going to do here is you are to fill in the blanks based sa itong mga na-discuss karon lang. Okay? Fill in the correct answer. Wrong spelling is wrong. Summary. Then we'll now go. Okay. I hope you have understood our lesson today about earthquakes. May mga different terminologies nga na-discuss, na-introduce. Okay. Post-test. I think it's 10 items. 15 items, multiple choice. Okay, questions about earthquake so far? Nasabtan?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Any
ma'am.
questions before we continue?
No, ma'am.
I hope you have started answering your modules answer sheets. So we are now on module 2, still on earthquake, tsunami, and Earth's interior. Sumpay lang ni siya. Okay, let's have a break. 5 minutes. Balik dayon. Water break, mag-inom ng tubig, mag-CR. 5 minutes before we start. Okay, we'll start. We'll continue. Please raise your hand kung ready na tanan. Where are the others? I hope naka-inom nagtubig, nakapasignal na, naghulog na. Karon magtiwas ta. Okay. So for module 2, which focuses on earthquakes, tsunami, and Earth's interior, so we'll get to know the other side of earthquakes. Okay. Adrian, please read what this module is about. First paragraph. Adrian.
In March 2011, a strong earthquake recorded in the Pacific Ocean near Japan. Consequently, a tsunami hit Japan. 20,000 people happened ruined, more than a million residents and structures were destroyed or damaged.
Okay, next paragraph. Please read, Sherwin. Sherwin?
Ako, ma'am.
Oo.
Anong pangkaduha, ma'am?
Yes.
In December 2004, a powerful earthquake transferred in the Indian Ocean near Indonesia. A tsunami shortly happened. More than 2,000 bodies were verified dead, several of them in Indonesia, Thailand, India, and Sri Lanka.
Okay, next. Manawag kog lain. Angel Kimbo.
Ma'am, wala ko nakadalang module, ma'am. Kaya namin, diri aning dapisawanan. Mabasa ang among kuan module kung dalon na mo. Igura
Nasa
mo nagpaminaw,
screen.
ma'am.
Nasa screen.
Ulan, ma'am. Good, ma'am.
Nasa screen. Makita sa
Dili
screen?
man maklaro, ma'am, kay kuan na kay Stephanie ang nasa kuan di maklaro kay na ang kang Stephanie ang nakita ay be. Ay naro day. Ni ay di man maklaro eh. Ala,
In 1976.
lanahan mo.
Oh, kana. Klaro na. Angel. Klaro na, dili. Sige, manawag kog lain. Kim Servan. Kim Servan. Ayo. Absinan ang dili mo tingog.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sige, basaha Kim Servan ang sumpay in 1976. Uy, nag-left. Sige, kuha na lang. Stephanie Loyola.
Sahon, ma'am.
Basaha
Ako, ma'am?
in
Unsa
1976.
pa ganing in 1976?
Yes.
Ay, ako na lang, ma'am, be.
Si Sophia daw, ma'am.
Sige, go.
Ako, ma'am. Gidsa, ma'am. Stephanie ako.
Okay, Sophia.
Ay,
Next is
si Prissy na. Ay, sige. Sige na, ma'am.
Go.
In 1976, an earthquake noted sa spot in Morro Gulf in Mindoro. Following
Mindanao.
on a tsunami. Ay, Mindanao. Ay, following a tsunami crash
Nearby.
nearby seaside region, thousands of people were destroyed. Numerous further health report disappeared. Tama na.
Okay. So just by reading this, makita din nato ang importance of studying tsunamis. Okay? In March 2011, a tsunami hit the country Japan. 20,000 people ang namatay. More than 1 million residences and structures were destroyed or damaged. So aside from damage and loss of property, mga naguba nga mga structures, most importantly, many people died when a tsunami happened, and so when people are not prepared. Aside from March 2011, December 2004, a powerful earthquake transpired in the Indian Ocean near Indonesia, meaning to say the epicenter is at the oceanic plates, nasa tubig, nasa dagat. But after that earthquake, there was a tsunami, and more than 200,000 bodies were verified dead. Imagine na. In just a short happening, kadyot ra nahitabo ang tsunami, automatic 200,000 katao ang namatay. And these people were from Indonesia, Thailand, India, and Sri Lanka. Do you know that these countries are silingan lang sa Philippines? So that is alarming. May ganit kay wala na naigo to. Wala na apil ang Pilipinas. Silingan na nato ni Indonesia, Thailand, India, and Sri Lanka. You look it at the map. Oh, imagine na kung wala tayo hanaw about tsunami and this happens, sa kay may tabo, no? Aside from that, in 1976, an earthquake spotted in Moro Gulf in Mindanao. So following on, a tsunami crash nearby seaside regions. Aside from that also, thousands of people were destroyed. Numerous further held reported disappeared. Wala na nakita. So, in our lesson today, we will discover wherewith underwater earthquakes produce a tsunami and how earthquake waves provide an example or provide information about the interior of the earth. Nakoy gipang mute kay para dili sasaw paminaw. Okay, we'll focus this module on tsunamis. So, in this module, you are expected to how underwater earthquakes generate tsunamis and explain how earthquake waves provide information about the interior of the earth. Again, what I know. Uy, kitsa to. 10 multiple choice questions. Agoy. Sige. Kinsay nakakita sa movie nga The Impossible? Ay nakakita sa inyo sa movie nga The Impossible? Story to siya about sa isa ka family nga nagbakasyon sa Indonesia. Nagbakasyon na to sila ato sometime in December 2004. Nya wala sila nag-expect nga dito sa ilang gibakasyonan mag-tsunami. And how
Salida?
The Impossible. Pangitanan ninyo og tan-awa.
Si Prissy, ma'am.
Ay, ito, wala. Nalimot ko na salida.
Si Prissy, ma'am.
Nalimot ko na salida. Namarag nakikita na ka na. Wala.
Oh. Story na siya about sa isa ka family nga nagbakasyon sa Indonesia sometime in December 2004. And then there was a tsunami. And then gipangita niya yung tibuok family. Praise God kay nakita niya tanan buhi tanan iyang family. Moto siyang story. So, nandiri oh. In December 2004, close-knit family Maria, Henry, and their 3 sons begin their winter vacation in Thailand, Indonesia. The perfect holiday turns into an horrible nightmare when a terrifying roar rises from the depths of the sea. The day after Christmas. Imagine na, tsunami after Christmas. Di na siya gaila og okasyon. Followed by a wall of black water that devours everything in its path. Though Maria and her family faced their darkest hour, unexpected displays of kindness and courage changed their terror. Moni siya ang illustration on how usually mahitabo basta na tsunami. Kani siya sa Japan siya. Okay? Do you think our country had ever experienced tsunami? Naka-experience na ba ang Pilipinas of tsunami?
Wala pa, ma'am.
Ang Philippines, ma'am.
Oh, naka-experience na ba? Nadunggan na mo balita?
Ma'am.
Okay. Nalagay sa inyong module, the answer is yes. So, na-record siya sa Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology in November 1994. A 7.1 magnitude earthquake produced a tsunami that caused 39 people to be drowned in Mindoro. Aside from that, also a magnitude 8.1 earthquake along the Cotabato Trench produced a massive tsunami waves as high as 9 meters in Moro Gulf. Around 8,000 people were killed or missing, and it is known as the most disastrous tsunami to hit the Philippines in the last 4 decades. Okay. Everybody say tsunami.
Tsunami.
Tsunami na siya. Dili na siya tsunami, ha? That's pronounced as tsunami. Nadiri, oh. Tsunami. Di na sa tsunami. Tsunami. Okay. So, tsunami is a Japanese word pronounced as tsunami, which means wave in the harbor. Sometimes it is misnamed as tidal waves. It is caused by an earthquake and other movements on the ocean floor. It travels and speeds up to 600 miles per hour. Tsunami traveling in deep water and open ocean causes no damage and are hardly noticeable. It can batter coastlines, causing considerable damage in shallow water with waves as high as 100 feet. Wala ta kabalo nga nay mga gakahitabo nga earthquakes in the ocean. Kung naa manggali, una gid nga ma-predict is if naabay tsunami nga mahitabo. So, meaning to say, if there is an occurring earthquake in the ocean floor, sa dagat, atong unang bantayan if naabay tsunami. Dagko dayon na siya. Ang kanasa nga earthquake, makaproduce na siya og dagko nga balod. Mo na nila siya ang tsunami. And ang unang mapiktuhan ana kay katong mga properties, mga tao nga naan near sa seashore, naa sa baybay. Ha? Walay tsunami nga mahitabo kung naka sa bukid, ha? Dapat naara dapit sa baybay. Now, question, how is a tsunami formed? So, nadire. Faults are seen not solely on to land but also under ocean. So, kaganina in our previous lesson, we have shown examples or illustrations of faults happening ngong naa sa yuta. This time, we'll focus on faults that are being produced under the ocean. So when a fault is at the ground of the ocean swiftly moves, the water over it can be stirred. Imagine na, nag-inom og tubig, ibutang ninyo ang tubig sa baso. Di ba kung inyong uyugon ng baso, muyog po ng tubig sa sulod, ana? Yes or no? Ayo. Ayo. Ayo.
Yes,
Ma'am.
Kung uyugon ninyo ang baso, ang tubig
Yes,
na
ma'am.
nasa sulod ana, muuyog gihapon, di ba? Oh,
Yes,
nga
Yes,
na
ma'am.
gihapon. There is what we call an abrupt force from an underwater fault can cause a wave named a tsunami. Unlike a wave that is produced by the wind, kung kinsa to naka-experience sa inyo og kanang magsakay pambot o sakay pambot or barko, dili na siya ang usual nga kanang balog bitaw nga gina-produce sa hangin. Ang sa tsunami gikan na sa ubos, sa ocean plates dito na movement gyapon dito mo na earthquake, then that produces big waves, and that is what we call a tsunami. And dili na siya hinay. A tsunami is extremely strong. Wind waves are simple or simply sea surface waves sa ibabaw lang. Whereas ang tsunami gikan na sa ilalom. So while a tsunami includes the complete underground force of the ocean from the seafloor to the surface. Imagine, a seafloor is nasa sa ilalong nga portion sa dagat. So gikan dito pa ibabaw. Imagine na the bigger wave that it will produce. So distant from the coast, a tsunami is low, perhaps merely 1 meter high. However, it moves at the speed of a jet pas kayo. So when a tsunami nears the coast, it slows down but becomes bigger. Para nagada nang magtanaw kag balot sa dagat, pagtanaw ninyo dito sa unahan pa kayo, gamay pa kayo na siya. Pero pag paduol na siya sa baybay, mudako na siya, di ba? Kakita mo og balot sa dagat?
Yes, ma'am.
O kung pa na siya sa layo, gamay pa kayo na siya. Pero pag paduol na galing na siya sa baybay, mo dako na rin ha. Ingan na gihapon na kay tabo basta na ay tsunami. Mo nang dako kayo nga balod ang ma-produce. However, it becomes extremely damaging because the energy of the whole ocean is after it. That is the idea of why the whole villages and municipalities are completely devastated after a tsunami strike. Dili na siya, o sana kabalay maguba. No. When a tsunami strikes a certain area, it usually takes a whole village or a whole municipality nga maguba. Kaya dako man kay na siya nga balod. Kasabtan. Narao.
Yes, ma'am.
Here is a figure that tells the mechanics of a tsunami. Gikan dire, di ba ikaw, kung tanaw ni, ikaw ning tawo na punuan sa lubi dire, muni siya ang baybay. Kani siya, you see here, the ocean floor, nara dire ang earthquake. Di ba, ningon ko ganina, when an earthquake occurs, it releases a certain big amount of energy. So kaning energy yon, muni siya ang naka-cause to water to push up. Isaka siya. Dayon ibiyahe din siya. Oh, waves spread out, naka-produce siya og waves, tsunami waves. And then pagpaduol na niya sa baybay, waves slow and gain height. Mo nito nga at 4 tsunami wave hits the baybay. So nadiha. Muna siya simple explanation as to how tsunami waves move when there is an earthquake. So now, how are earthquakes associated with tsunami? Narao. However, we have to remember that not all fault movement underneath the sea will create a tsunami. So dili day tanan po. Okay. So paspason, kahapit na 10 o'clock. So I hope you could read this sa inyong modules. Read the selection given below. Read me. Actually, our lesson is actually very interesting. Earthquake waves and the interior of the earth. O sa grade 7 pa mo, or even sa lower years, you have learned that the earth is composed of 4 layers. What are these 4 layers of the earth? Sige, Bill, raise your hand. Raise your hand. What are the 4 layers of the earth? Sige, Stephanie Loyola na lang. Ito, wala siya cancer ganina. Stephanie?
Crust, ay kaneng crust, inner core, outer, ano ito ma'am? Outer core of, kalimot ko ma'am.
Mantle. So, kaniya itong gitumban karon, it's already part of the Earth's crust. So next day na layer is the mantle, followed by the outer core and the inner core. So the crust is the outermost part of the earth. Kung ang Earth's crust is was comprehensively studied by our scientists, the mantle and the core has not been studied. Ngano man? Lisod naman kay atong ilalom. Humans have been to the moon, explored to the outer space and every corner of the planet, but nobody has gone as deep as the mantle. Okay? Wala pa sukad nakastudy sa mantle. Okay, another. Activity 1, what's new? Fill me in. Nani sa inyong answer sheet? So you fill out these mystery words by filling in the blanks. Ito na ni ambakan. Okay, assessment post-test na. Multiple choice, I think it's 15 items. Ay, 12 brother, sorry. So, done with lesson or module 2. Okay, last is on module 3. By the way, nako'y pangutan na kano saan ipasubmit sa inyong advisor ang inyong modules? Hello? Kano saan ipasubmit?
Murag, kuha man tayo lima, Wednesday.
Na may general meeting sa Friday. Next week. General meeting sa parents, all parents sa Friday next week. So hopefully before Friday, masubmit na. Okay, humana ta sa earthquakes. We'll now proceed to typhoons. What is typhoon in Bisaya?
Bagyo.
Very good. So, kung dili kayo mo ka-relate sa tsunami, I'm sure that you can relate yourselves in terms of bagyo. Okay? First off, what I know gihapon, I think pila ni sa ka-items? 10 items, multiple choice. Again, use capital letters. Next, how do typhoons develop? Kaganina, ang earthquake ma-develop if there is a movement of tectonic plates, whether it can be in the land or in the water or sa ilalom. This time, you will understand how typhoons develop. So, napo dire, activity 2, sequencing of events. So, you are to arrange the events as to how the following events of typhoon formation nga unsa siya mahitabo. Okay, nara. Makita ninyo ang screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How typhoons are formed. So, of course, typhoons start as a tropical thunderstorm. So, strong winds pull in moisture from the ocean, from the process called evaporation. So, kung puan, init kayo, ang cloud sa ibabaw, evaporate niya ang tubig gikan sa mga dagat. Next. Number 2, thunderstorms will convert the moisture into heat. Such heat causes more air to flow to the center of the storm, causing evaporation. Muna kung giingon ganiya. After that, all the heat and airflow toward the eye creating the typhoon. Makita ninyo diha na circular movement of the moisture coming from the ocean. So we also have here preconditions for typhoons. So there are several atmospheric components to consider in the formation of a typhoon. Sa uban countries, typhoon or simply called hurricane has the same identical conditions. There are 7 atmospheric conditions that cause a typhoon to create such as pre-existing disturbance: warm ocean water, low atmospheric stability, sufficient Coriolis force, moist mid-atmosphere, and upper atmosphere divergence. These are important factors in the formation of a typhoon. And such factors are essential in generating tremendous amount of warmth energy which are transported from the tropics northward to the upper latitudes. So, typhoon can be compared to a large engine where great amounts of warmth energy are being produced through the heat of condensation. So, from evaporation, gikan sa dagat or gikan sa any other watery area sa Earth, i-absorb siya, i-condensate siya, and this happens when vapors are being evaporated from the ocean surface and condensed into cloud droplets. I-condense sa clouds. Pag humanda yan ng condensation, halin mag-ulan. So, mechanisms to cause typhoon formation. So, typhoon will develop when all the preconditions cited are met. Nandun tayo gitawag nga ITCZ. It's not anymore new to you because I think you have discussed this in your grade 7. ITCZ means Intertropical Convergence Zone. Naila-ila na po ni sa inyo whenever you watch weather news. Mayroon sila nga, nag-ulan o kusog karong adlaw, dili tungod kay naay bagyo kung dili tungod sa ITCZ. And that ITCZ means Intertropical Convergence Zone, where a cyclonic spin has developed that is occurring at the northeast and southeast trade winds. And this trade winds trough doesn't contain the spin to initiate typhoon development. So sometimes, typhoon, kaya gitawag kapon sa hurricanes, are caused by the monsoon in trough in 6 of the 7 hurricane or typhoon formation basins of the world. Do you know that most typhoons are produced near the Philippines? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you know that? Nganong daghan bagyo sa Pilipinas? Kay duol ta sa Pacific Ocean, the largest ocean of the world, and where most of the typhoons are developed. Kunay mangutan na sa inyo, dagan lagi ga-produce nga bagyo or dagan lagi bagyo, sige lagi magka-experience og bagyo diya sa Pilipinas. And the answer is, it's because we are living near the Pacific Ocean where most of the typhoons are usually developed. So kita mismo, dili na ta matingala nganong daghan bagyo nga atong gaka-experience. In fact, as studied, most of the typhoons are counted from 20 to 26. 20 to 26 ka bagyo ang atong gaka-experience every year. That is why ang pagpangalan ana sa Pag-asa, the Philippine Atmospheric Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, ginapangalanan nila from letters A to Z. Okay? Kaya rapod na nila ipangalan once a typhoon enters the Philippine area of responsibility. Okay? So another reason for typhoon formation is from the TUTT, the Tropical Upper Tropospheric Trough. So I hope you can read that. Okay, another. What I have learned, I think these are part of ambot og apil ba ni sa answer sheet? Ako siya i-check ha.
Apil, ma'am.
Apil na,
Apil,
ma'am.
Okay, apil siya. T or F lang ang i-sulat.
Oh my God.
Na siya, oh. Picture analysis. Ingani ang nakahitabo. How a typhoon is usually produced. It affects the great bodies of water. That is why
Or iba po.
kanang kung na picture nga ipakita, lingin siya, di ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next. O naadere mga different illustrations that will help you understand how a typhoon is produced. Unsa pod iyang movement. In a very general sense, typhoons gain power as they move over warm bodies of water and start losing energy once they get over to cold water. There are other factors in play. It can be temperature of water and air, moisture, air currents, and the temperature of the landmass, etc. Munang mabantayan ninyo, pag ang bagyo naapa sa tubig or naapa sa oceans, kusog yun na siya. Pero once it hits land or nagwa na siya, naglandfall, hinay na din na siya. Muhinay na din na siya. Muna inyong bantayan, whenever you hear weather news, like kung ang isa ka bagyo wala pa naglandfall, dako pa ang possibility na nga makusog pa na siya. Pero if kanang sa tawag ani, kung hinay pa or naglandfall na siya, pahinay na siya. Nasabtan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, summary. Basaw na lang na ninyo, ha? And then, assessment post-test, I think there are 10 items, multiple choice. Nasabtan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, questions. Kinaghulat na ang next class. Okay, thank you so much. Grade 8 for attending our online class this morning.
Mag-picture pa,
Okay,
ma'am.
paliw kog on sa inyong camera. We will take a picture as our attendance today. Okay? Yes po. Tapi lang mga kauban, katong duha or tulo ka nag-share. Please turn on your cameras. I hope you will be able to answer the activities na nasa inyong answer sheet and you could submit that by next week. Okay? Sige, picture na ta. Angel Kimbo, please turn on your camera. Monilin Taneo, kasi nagamit anang account, please turn on your camera. Ready? Isa ni siya, Monilin Taneo. Isa na siya.
Smile tayo.
Okay, please face the camera in 3, 2, 1. Isa pa. Show your best smile, everybody. 3, 2, 1, and okay, thank you so much for attending our online class this morning. Daghang salamat o maayong buntag sa tanan.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye. You may now leave the group chat.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.